Hi, Judean. It's great to see you today.
Right. Great to be here.
Thank you for joining us. I wanted to speak with you because you have a really interesting movement story. But before we get into it, tell us a bit about yourself and what movement has looked like in your life.
Do you know what? To be fair, probably, I think since I was younger, I've always been probably quite active, especially in childhood. I think I've done cross country, netball, I did hockey, so long distance, gymnastics up until teenage years. So always probably been really, really active. I don't know if you remember doing gymnastics when you were younger
I
and you
didn't do
used to
it.
get your, did you not do it? You used to get these Coca-Cola badges that used to get sewn onto your kit. So always been pretty active. And then I got to having my daughter in 2007 and then had postnatal depression. And that has been a circle of discovery for me in terms of going through that. And when I went to see the GP eventually, because it manifested itself much later on as well, and they offered antidepressants. And I was just really like, I'm not sure that I want to go down that road. And he could really see that. And it was at that point that he suggested, have I thought about going to the gym and working out? So rather than taking medication, you could think about fitness
Mhm.
instead. So that was probably around about 2000 and maybe 12. So that's when my adult foray into fitness started. So I started going with my sister every week, doing obviously what you can do, and then really began to take it probably more seriously around 2015 as
So,
you start to see yourself change.
so how did you start? Was that in the gym or classes?
Just the gym.
Okay.
So my sister and I would go, we'd use a few machines. She's really strong in her abs. So she was suggesting exercises that we could do together. And I think it kind of petered out, if I remember rightly, with me changing career, going into something completely new. And that kind of took over my whole life, moving into education, which is obviously really stressful, really busy all the time, hands on, everything's on fire, takes up your life. So around about 2015, I started to take it more seriously. So it really was just gym, using machines, a little bit of floor work. And then I found Sports Direct Fitness in 2015, accidentally taking my daughter to an art class. So I thought one day, let me drive around and see. And they gave me a tour. Great value. And they had classes, gym, swimming pool, squash courts, the whole shebang. So I was like, okay, let's go for it. So again, I started there in the gym, just doing my own thing. And then I found classes, and that was it. Then I became a cardio addict from there on in. You couldn't get me in the gym. It was literally purely all of these classes that I got involved in. And I would do anything from yoga to HIIT, anything that was put in front of me, I'd have a go.
That sounds really similar to me, but the other way around. I started doing classes for the first time
Yeah.
in 2009, and like you, just addicted. Went from one class to two classes to three classes back to back,
Yeah.
sometimes 5 days a week.
That's me. And that's still me, actually. I remember we went away on a fitness weekender and I just loved it, literally in a class from 9 till 7 p.m. back to back. And then attending fitness events like a Fight Club at Box Park as well and getting involved with that. So, yeah, just anything. Absolutely love it. But I think it was discovering working out with other people.
There was the social aspect.
Yeah,
And for me, it was
definitely.
meeting people. I just had my daughter and was in that place. I just wasn't happy. I was trying to
Yeah.
go back to work and it just wasn't working. And to just lift my mood, I was like, I'm just going to go to a class and try something. And then meeting really lovely people who I'm still in touch
Yeah.
with now.
Oh, yeah, same as well, actually. So I've got two gym families, one still from Sports Direct. There's a couple of people that I still keep in contact with, but I've made some really good friends, I suppose, as well at the gym that I now go to, which is Bannatyne, which I love because they've got so many classes as well.
So tell us about the thing that you've been doing more recently.
Although I'm not doing it at the moment, I went through a really stressful time probably about 2 years ago, and there was lots of things going on, and I really wanted to try something new. And it might have been the social media algorithms actually, because I follow my brother, and I think it was showing me things that he'd liked, and it was probably showing him things that I'd liked. So we've both been clicking on these gymnastics videos. I then started on this mad mission to find out where there were gymnastics classes nearby, which in Croydon or in the south, there aren't many. So then I just mentioned it in passing to my brother, and we were both, oh, let's do it. Let's have a go. So we found a place in New Edenton at the leisure centre, and they just started running adult gymnastics. So it was so funny because when we turned up, there were three parents of children that go to the children's gymnastics classes, and then me and my brother, just kind of randoms in this group. So really lovely and small, but my God, was it testing. It's very calisthenics based. So very much about your own body strength, very little equipment, but it really made you push past your fear of doing certain things. And I think having done gymnastics when I was younger, I think the fear factor was probably less for me because I can still do a cartwheel. I used to practice splits, which is another story actually, because that's how I broke my bum.
I didn't even know you could do
Ah,
that.
I was in a class with one of my instructors, and she said, "Oh, I'm determined to do the splits by my 50th." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I want to do it by my 40th." So I'd gone down on one side and I was so close to being absolutely parallel. She says, "It's not the same on the other side, Judean." I was like, "Oh yeah, whatever, let's try the other side." So I've gone down the other side. I got so excited that I got there. I forgot my alignment and I've just felt it go. And I was like, "Oh, that's not right." So I've jumped up and thought, "Oh, surely there's nothing wrong with that." Went and did a 5K run, then went and did another class in between. And the next day, I swear, my bum was broken. I couldn't move. It was really, really bad. So anyway, I think some of the fundamentals, bar that experience, was still there from gymnastics. I was kind of not afraid to tumble or to roll or to have a go. So she was really good actually, because she teaches children and we were very much newbies, very patient and just kind of really eased us back into fundamental practices of gymnastics. So a little bit of stretching at the start, then she'd demonstrate different moves that we could do. And then by the end of it, we were tumbling, running, jumping off of boxes. It was a lot of fun.
It
A
sounded
lot,
it.
a
The way that
lot.
you described it, I was thinking, I've never been interested in gymnastics and I am the
Yeah.
stiffest person ever. I'm going to expose myself now, but I can just about touch my toes and nothing else. And I was quite intrigued when you were talking about it. And the first thing that I
Yeah.
thought of, and you just spoke about, was I'm quite intimidated by the thought of doing certain movements because
Yeah.
I'm not flexible and I'm older. Had the other class members done gymnastics before? Find
No,
out.
so funnily enough, we turned up and one of the guys that was there was somebody that my brother used to go to school with. So he found a mate when we were in there. And both of them, I would say, flexibility was not their strongest point. But she's so encouraging and very, very patient. And she talks you through. She's very much about go at your own pace, have a go and see how you get on. But I think where everybody was at very similar starting points. You had some people that had done gymnastics before but hadn't touched it obviously for years, and some that were brand new. In essence, it was all new in terms of the
Mhm.
starting point for all of us. So everybody was super encouraging of each other and lots of celebration when you managed to do even a forward roll. It was like, did a forward roll. I think it's about removing the embarrassment and understanding, do you know what, actually, we're all in the same position. There's no need to be embarrassed. Just have a go and see how you get on. And the progression, my brother and I stayed, I think, probably for about 6 or 7 months in the end, but then he had an injury and then we stopped going. But the progression between then and when we left was a massive difference. My brother was jumping and flipping and landing on his feet by the end of it. And this is somebody who was really afraid to stand on his head and do a handstand before. So
That's
lots of improvement. I'd encourage anybody to do something like that, just to think about what your body can do or what you think your body can't do. You'd be so surprised at actually what you are capable of, for sure.
And this is it with the right coaching and support and environment, as you said, you're more willing to experiment. So, how did you even think of gymnastics? Was it because you saw it on Instagram before or in passing? How did it even come up
You
for you to start liking the
Do you know
posting
what it
those
is?
things?
I think you begin thinking about all the things that you haven't done in life. You
Hmm.
get to a certain stage and you're like, there's so much that I haven't experienced. I think also as parents, whether you're male or female within that as well, you put yourself to one side and you're very focused for many years just on your kids getting through everyday life. And I think when my kids are more grown up and we were beginning to have a bit more time available, it's like, okay, what do I want to do for myself? And also, I've reached a period where I just want to have a go of everything. So I don't know, Anika, you might well be up for this actually. My thing next year is I want to try and do a different physical activity every month. So
Month.
things like testing out a reformer Pilates class or going to do, I really want to try some Brazilian dance classes.
You know what's on my
Uh,
list?
yeah.
Volleyball. I like
Oh my
watching it.
God. I,
Think I would have a go.
yeah, but have you seen the new dodgeball clubs that are emerging?
No.
Okay, so there's a couple of kind of very, and I'm loving it, is but quite, there's one that's run by these young people. And I don't remember the film Dodgeball with Vince Vaughn. I love that film, but basically they compete and it's just reminiscent of that film, but it looks like so much fun.
Oh, yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah, so volleyball, and then a friend's invited me to come down to her. So you get to that stage where you're
What,
like, I can't
netball?
remember the word. That's the one. Thank you so much.
Oh, I
Yeah,
hated netball when I was at
yeah.
school.
Oh, I
No,
love netball, but
I'm
I was
sorry,
always
that
quite
one.
short. Always quite short. But she's invited me to go down there and have a go with that. Paddle, want to have a go with that as well. So there's a few things
Oh,
actually,
we
I
should make a
think.
list. I'm up for it.
Yeah, and I think that I know that even with my kids, my throwing skills have like I don't have that, but also I wouldn't mind trying a bit of hockey again.
Yeah. Oh, I
So
used to love
I
hockey.
used to
Yes.
love hockey. Yeah, we used to be on the hockey team in school, so I used to love that as well. So I think there's loads of things out there just to number one to experiment and just have a go with things and push yourself to do something
Yeah.
new. But also you might find something that you really love doing. And that's how I came across yoga actually. It was purely accidental. And I think I was looking for another class to do after another class. I was like, I've got time. Let me just stay. But then oh my God, this is probably like the best thing that I've ever discovered in terms of being able to find something that really, and I do this, that really centers yourself and just brings that calmness and that peace. And in terms of more gentle movement and just learning to breathe and how you can then apply what you take away from a practice like that into your everyday life. So when you think about those stressful moments that you come across, I completely bring myself back round sometimes to yoga, remember to just breathe, to release those thoughts, and then just to center yourself again. So purely accidental, but yoga has been now a consistent part of my fitness practice since 2015. So I've got quite what I would say is a well-rounded fitness schedule. So strength, cardio, and yoga or body balance.
And now
Yeah.
endurance.
And
Judean is joining us in our High Rocks relay in December. So you've also got that coming up as well.
I am. That's on my hit list to do. I'm glad we're starting with a relay. You know, when you look at the videos of people online and you're already doing it in your head, but then when you go to the gym and you try it and you're on the ski ergs and you're like, yeah, this is not the one.
I think
This
everybody
is
has
not the one.
the one that they like and the one they like least. So yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
fair enough.
What's your favourite on High Rocks?
It changes. I would say push and
Yeah.
pull, and they were my strongest and they're now not. My least favorite, I think most people, actually, I've heard somebody say they like it. Wall balls is my least favorite.
I'm with you 100%.
So I'm just like, but you have to do it. So you just grin and bear and get on with it. My
I'm so glad.
second,
I think Liz is on that. I'm so happy for Liz
and
doing.
I have to say, Liz, thank you because we've got two teams, and normally we've had a couple of relay teams before, and I've always taken the wall balls and the burpees. And I'm just saying thank you to both our ladies who are taking the wall balls this time. I'm doing burpees, but they've both volunteered. And you know what? They are so strong that they're going to do amazing. I'm not even worried. They will
Yeah.
probably teach me a thing or two.
Yeah, wall balls is a tough one. I'm glad I've got burpees because I'm all right with the burpees. I think I can manage that.
Just
Yeah,
rest on the ground. Remember that. Breathe, rest.
yeah. And then
But you,
lunges. So I'm quite happy with my two stations. But also, I think this is the important thing for people to think about is have conversations with people, reach out, talk to them about what you're inspired to do or what you aspire to do. Because if we had never have had that conversation when we were at book club, I would never have known that you were into high rocks and therefore wouldn't be doing this as part of that relay team as well. So I think it is really important to have a circle. Don't be afraid to be a part of a circle. I'm actually not necessarily like you. I can be quite shy in social situations until I'm comfortable. Yeah. I say introvert, I'm an introverted extrovert.
when you find your people, you
Yeah,
become extroverted. I'm the
that's
same.
it. Exactly. Yeah. So I think feeling comfortable to have that conversation, be like, oh my God, you're into that. I really want to do that. That's on my hit list. But also, I think when you've got a group of people, it helps you to keep each other motivated as
So when you talk about the yoga, you've been practicing it for a long time. Are you qualified? Are you
yeah.
teach?
No, that I would love to qualify in yoga. So I've started with trying to get my certification to teach body balance,
Mhm.
which is a combination of yoga, Pilates, and Tai Chi, kind of set to music. That's really stretching me at the moment and finding it challenging, I think, especially with memory and trying to just remember the choreography. Yoga, I almost feel like I should have done the yoga qualification first. And the only
Really?
thing I think that, yeah, definitely. I think the only thing there is to qualify as a yoga instructor is quite expensive. And I think as well, one of the important things to think about in that space is actually there aren't many people that look like us at the front of the class teaching those classes. And sometimes that can also be motivation to see somebody who looks like you doing something that you want to do or want to be able to do as well is really important. And that's always played in the back of my mind. In the gym sphere, there are lots of us, but not necessarily in particular disciplines. So it'd be good in that perspective, go into that field, but also just to deepen my own practice as well with it.
So what do you think's next for you then?
Let's get certified on body balance first. I'm thinking about certifying in body pump as
Hmm.
well. And then also, I'm really interested in getting my exercise to music quals that I can teach classes, maybe like Fight Club, or classes where I can play music that I really like to get pumped to in the gym or in a cardio class. So I think that might be the next steps. But I'm overcoming the fear at the moment of just getting qualified. And the next fear that I'm facing at the moment is having to think about, okay, I can get qualified, but I need to then be able to teach. So, how do you teach without fear of judgment from your class and really put into the back of your mind what other people might be thinking about you, which can be, I think, quite a challenging thing to rise above sometimes as well. So, that's my current barriers that I'm trying to overcome within getting qualified.
Well, you know, you've just said that, and we can help you do that. I was exactly the same the first time I was doing my sessions, especially when you've got other people who are instructors in the group, and it's just like,
Yeah,
am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? I'm trying to follow what I know, but it's all of that, and you do
yeah.
it, and the more you do it, it's practice.
I've literally got the choreography music on play, on rotate every single day. I'm sometimes just sat here at my desk, I've got the music playing and my arms are going like this, or like this, or
You've
like
got the
this,
choreography,
trying
so
to
it's
remember, yeah,
subconscious.
trying to embed that choreography.
So you were talking about managing all the learning. That's something I found was a challenge, and it was
Yeah,
intimidating when I did my level 2 and my level 3. I used to love doing courses, but a long time has gone, and I found
yeah.
myself back in the classroom and actually one of the oldest people in the room, just trying to get through the volume of content. That was a challenge. How have you found managing that?
I will not pretend to say that it's been easy and where you're competing with workload, home life, and also finding that space to learn. Number one, I'm fortunate to have a really supportive background in my life. So very much about you do what you need to do. Let me remove the distractions so that you can focus on what you need to do. It's finding how you learn. And I know that as an educator, I'd normally have a teacher that would differentiate or would adapt. But literally, with these kind of courses, they give you the materials and you need to find your own way. So it's really important actually to have an understanding of how you learn best and how you retain information best. So is that through visuals? Is it through auditory? Most of us learn through a combination of both, with the predominant one being doing. So what I found is actually in order to learn it, I need to do it. So I'm watching with the choreography voice on silent, and then I'm just doing and following what I know until it actually embeds itself. Because the more I read it, I feel like it's just going over my head, but doing and then either listening to or looking at my notes ever so slightly to remind me, but trying to do it from memory and building that so that you get that muscle memory of the music and the choreography is, I think, what's been most helpful as well. But also, I think on the course that I was on, she gave us lots of time for practice as well, which was really useful. So, unlike yours, maybe I haven't got the physiology side of it in terms of learning the body and those parts. It's more just about the choreography and the movement. And also, you have to learn to like the sound of your own voice that was one of my first things I said to my husband. Oh my God, I hate the sound of my voice. I really
Really?
do. Honestly, I do. And the instructor said the same thing to me. And she said, but Judean, you've got a lovely voice.
Very
I'm like,
relaxing
that's
as
what
movement.
she said. And I'm like, what, my South London accent? Relaxing? I think so. But it's how you feel about your own voice. And again, it's just something you have to be. That is what it is. And you're just going to have to get used to it. So, yeah, yeah,
So it's
get in there.
overcoming that self-doubt. And this is the thing, I don't know about
Mm,
you, but as I've retrained, I would say retrained, I'm doing it alongside my career, but just thinking about doing something different, it's reevaluating your identity and what you've come to know as you
yeah.
and the comfortable things you associate as you, and then shifting it. It was really uncomfortable for me, and it still is something I'm working on. How are you trying to manage that?
I think, and I was going to say actually, I don't know if you agree with this, you kind of reach a stage of your life where you realize you are who you are. You have to be comfortable now with who you are. But if you're not, there are things that you can do to work on yourself and improve yourself for yourself. In order to do that, sometimes you've got to do things that make you uncomfortable. To be comfortable, sometimes you have to first be uncomfortable and then push through that. And that's one of the things I think that I have in the back of my mind. And from that, greatness will come. You'll be the person then that you want to be. I think it's just acknowledging things about yourself in your life. You get to that midlife point where you're just beginning to reevaluate now and just reassess yourself and what you stand for and what your values are and what you want and how everything you've done in life previous to this point, you've played it by the book. But actually, that's not what life is about. You're on the grind, you're always on the school run, but you're not actually focusing on you, yourself, your family, your loved ones in that way. So it's just a time to kind of reevaluate and really think about actually yourself and who you want that person to be now.
Yeah. And you know, you say that, and I think you touched on something really interesting there because I think I'm quite comfortable with who I am. And as you say, that's definitely been
Yeah.
a midlife thing, as in, this is who I am, and I'm happy. But actually, as a result of having more time, as you said, as my kids are older as well, I started remembering things that I'd stopped doing or wanted to
Okay.
do, but didn't have time. And it's 3 or 4 years ago now, almost. I went back to something that I loved and did at school, which was skiing. And that, I have to
Wow.
say, the first time I
Yeah.
went back, it sounds so dramatic
It's
and
like
cliche.
coming home.
It was. And you know what it
Yeah.
was for me? The sound of my boot where it clicks in, and
Yeah.
it literally transported me back to being 13, 14. And it was, even talking about it now, it just was
It's what
amazing.
makes
And
you go
just
like that.
going
Yeah.
back. And so I have been kind of maintaining that every year I've been going. And I've actually gone on my own 2 years. I went back with
Oh,
my brother,
really?
and he
Yeah.
couldn't fit it in. He travels a lot with work. So I've been a couple of times on my own, and it's been great. And I didn't go this year because of High Rocks. I had a race just after I finished my course, and
Yeah.
I didn't do it. And I've got to the end of the year and I'm like, no, that's not happening
Oh,
again. But off the back of that, as you said, and we were just discussing, there's all these things I've thought about doing that I haven't really made time for. And that is
yeah.
something I am definitely going to be more conscious of going forward.
Yeah.
Because we have, not in a bad way, but we have given everybody else so much of our time and our space and bandwidth in our minds. And actually, somebody asked me, well, what do you want to do? And other than skiing, I was like, I don't know. And I found that
Yeah, and I
quite
was just
worrying.
gonna make, yeah, I was gonna make that point actually as well. I think that's such a crucial point is that, and this is the thing as well, it's reminding people it's okay to not know. It's okay. Like sometimes I remember saying to a couple of my friends, sometimes, you get to a stage where you just feel like, I don't know who I am anymore. You've been so many things to so
To
many
everybody else.
people, and you don't know who you are anymore. And I think that to your point, this is the process, I suppose, of trying to find that person, not who I used to be, but who I am now and who I want to be. And like you say, in terms of either rediscovering something that you really loved, or like that plan to test something every month next year, that will enable you to find those things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be fitness, it could be
Anything.
crafts, a hobby, cooking, baking, going and doing, I don't know, what's the one I want to do at the moment? Oh my God, they've got the Traitors game. So things that, just encourage you to get out there and test and try and find new things that you love that help you then to discover actually who you are. What do you like? What do you love? What do you aspire for? What do you want? Because if I was to put together a mood board now, I don't even know what I would put on it sometimes, other
Do
than
you,
what is right in front of my face.
yeah. Do you know what? What you said has just given me goosebumps because in the last 2, 3 years now, off the back of going skiing, I was like, I'm going to do other things. And I did. I started painting and I was that person. I was always
Yeah,
encouraging everybody else to do it. And I'm not a painter. I can't draw. I will
yeah,
put my hand up. I can't draw. But I love abstract. And I bought a course and I was painting every week for over a year, which is what I exercise in and I
yeah,
compete. But off the back of that, I've always wanted to write and I've started. And it's kind of like a snowball effect.
yeah,
And but it is giving ourselves permission to try. And again, as you said, without the sense of it has to work. It's just to see and be curious and follow
yeah,
that. And again, I think going back to the original point of grounding in ourselves of who we are, I feel in a way it's the opposite approach as well.
mm,
Yes, we know who we are and we're coming inwards. For me, it's very much coming out. And again, I
yeah,
maybe because not maybe, it's because I am that introverted person. I'm happy being the
yeah, yeah.
supporter in the background. But of late, I'm making myself uncomfortable and going out there
Like
because
flowering out.
I
Yeah,
didn't want to do it. And I was like, yeah,
yeah,
but not doing that, what has that cost me? I don't know. And honestly, as a result of that, I am now here and we're talking and, we're training and whatever. And that was something that would never have even been on my radar a couple of years ago.
yeah. And I think one of the things, and I suppose going back to that point about group exercise classes, I will admit this. Most people who know me well know this already. I'm super competitive, like super competitive, even down to like Scrabble or Monopoly, or even when my kids were younger, Hungry Hippos. I'm not giving you a blight just because you're six in that Hungry Hippo.
That was the best game. That was the
It was
best
a
game.
great game. So I think that actually, and there's 2 points to this, I think. Number one, it's I love the classes because you're competing in a way and you want to be better. You see other people that are really strong and I want to be strong like that. So I'm really going to go for it. If I can see somebody going for it, I'm like, geez, if they're lifting 20, come on, then you've got to be able to lift 20. And then it became less about that and more I used to explain to people, I'm not competing against other people in that way. I'm competing, it's me against me. It's me up against what I lifted last week, or how long I ran last week, or how much effort I was able to put in last week. It's how deeper can I go on a burpee? It's how far can I go in that lunge in yoga? So, you know, just think, I always say you are literally 1 second better than what you were the previous week. And that's
Brilliant.
okay. Literally just 1 second more, just 1% better is progress
Yeah.
each week. And you have to be able to measure that for yourself and to be able to celebrate that for yourself because people aren't always necessarily going to celebrate
For
for
you.
you. I think that's something that I've had to learn. People aren't going to say, oh my God, you look really fit, or that lunge was amazing, oh, you lifted 40 kilo. You can't rely on that. Yes, people will say that, sorry, they do. But actually, I'm discovering that you have to be able to celebrate yourself. And I know that I probably don't do that enough. I'm the first to kind of be like, "Mm."
We do, but we've been
But
conditioned to be modest, right?
get very modest. And I think that maybe we don't celebrate ourselves in that respect, actually, at all. Like people would say to me in a class, literally, I'm following you. That's the standards. And I'll be like, I go because I want to go and because I love it and I love to put my all into everything. And when you receive that compliment from somebody, you
How to
actually don't know how to take it. And I find it really uncomfortable. But you still have to hear that, take it, and celebrate that for yourself as well, because it shows how much progress you are making as well.
it's so funny you say that because I had a win today and I'm going to share it. So I started swimming coming up to 6 months ago. So I think
Yeah.
I'm that sad person. I write things down every week. So I think this is week 18 or 19. Don't
Oh,
quote me
wow.
of us going every week. I think we've missed
Yeah.
one week because I wasn't well. When I first went, I hadn't swum since I was in primary school. So 8, 9. And I found my certificate in the summer. I had a 10-meter certificate. That's the most I could do. That's not even a length.
It's like
So when I went in the pool, I was like, right, I'm going to swim more than 10. I swam 6 lengths. So what is that? 150 meters. And
Nika.
it
Did you put your
killed.
face in the water?
No, I tried that. I
Oh,
almost drowned
okay,
myself. So
okay.
I swam these 6 lengths and it took me like 40 minutes and I was so tired. I swam 1,200 meters
Oh
today.
my God, Anik, that's amazing. That is
So proud of myself.
amazing.
It came up on the watch and this watch is not clocking the last 25, the last length. So it's
Yeah,
25 less. But just seeing that, I would never have imagined. I was just going to do it to try and
yeah,
improve my aerobic capacity for high rocks.
yeah.
And now, like you say, my competitive side has been reawoken. So every week I'm like, well, I can't do what I did last week. I've got to do more.
You've got to do a bit more.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. And see, I'm going to take your advice. I'm celebrating that because
And
I
you
never
should like
imagined.
literally, you should do like yesterday. My win was even though I didn't want to, I came back home from work and I just did not have the physical capacity to do my training yesterday. But I knew I really needed to cement this one track. I'm just struggling. There's so much instruction. And I came home. I didn't get it perfect, but I practiced it 3 times back to back. That was the win. I got on my mat, and that was the important thing. I made it to my mat,
Yeah.
and I
And that's
hadn't.
it.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that's the win. That's it. That's as good as you can do. You made it to your mat. You did 10 minutes of practice, but that's the win, and that's okay.
And that's it. We've got our life demands.
Yeah,
Your capacity will change every day, and we've got to recognize that. And for me, actually, in my training in high rocks in the last year and a half, I'm always got to be better. And people keep telling me, you're not going to have a good session, you're not going to have a good race every time. And it's taken me so long to actually internalize that. But now that I have,
yeah,
it takes the pressure off and it makes it fun again. Not that it wasn't, but you're looking at it through a different lens, right?
yeah. And do you know what? Talking of high rocks, actually, 'cause my training, admittedly, in the past 2 weeks has taken a dive because I've done no strength training at all probably since I last saw you. Because then we had a death in the family, and I've then had the body balance training as well. So I now know, right, okay, you've got 2 weeks before race day. What can you accomplish in 2 weeks? You just now need to make it meaningful. So number one, thank God it's a relay. Relay.
Perspective, context.
Yeah, yeah. But I know that I can do the burpees, I can
Yeah,
do the lunges. So my focus is yes, I'm going to be focusing on those, but my wins now each week have got to be on the running
yeah.
because I know that I can do a K, but I'm a slow K. So, I just need to really focus on that part and be committed to following through on that over the next 2 weeks to make sure that I'm ready for the team really as well.
And you know what? You will be ready because you will do the run. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's doing it in your own time. But as you said, progressing and doing better than you know you
Yeah.
could do
Just better than
before.
you were before.
But and you know, well, you don't know that environment, but when you get there, you'll see everybody and anybody is having a go. So you're
Yeah.
going to have people who are walking. We've got somebody in our team who's walking and running, and that's
Yeah.
fine because actually, where you see where she's come from, it's amazing. And
Yeah.
yesterday we were at the track and she managed to do, I think, 2 laps or one and a half without stopping, and that was her win.
Which is phenomenal. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Which is
before,
phenomenal.
and that's it. And it's just practicing, but it's putting in the time and being consistent, as consistent as
As
you
you
can.
can. Yeah. Do you know what? I saw a really lovely post online the other day, and I remember it used to be like if I wasn't doing at least an hour class or at least an hour gym session, it's not worth my time.
I used to be like that. Yeah.
That was my stand. Like it wasn't worth my time. If I can't do 2 classes back to back, what's the point? I'm not driving all that way to do one class. And actually, this post was 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. Something is going to be more beneficial for you than doing nothing at
Yeah.
all. So if you want to become consistent, start small
Yeah.
and then build up. And I think it was my husband that said actually the other day, he said it's not about motivation. I was like, what do you mean it's not about motivation? Motivation is really hard. You're not always
And it will come and go.
motivated. It's about discipline. Now, when he said that, that really does make sense because you're not always motivated and you just can't find the energy. But if you can be disciplined to go, but also setting yourself up for success. So I don't train in the morning. You won't find me in the gym before 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. For high rocks, I've had to get my backside down to the gym to get the time to do it. The motivation wasn't there. I was like, nah, I don't want to be getting up. It's cold, it's wet, I don't want to go. But packing my bag the night before, having my post gym snack ready. So, like my yogurt and granola, banana, nuts, all of that ready in the fridge in my little bag, ready to go. Bags packed, swim stuff is packed, my gear's out. So, literally, I can just like roll out to bed, freshen up, gym gears on, and then I'm good to go. So, I think in terms of there are ways in which you can prep yourself when you know you're not going to be motivated, but you can still be disciplined
Yeah.
as well. By the time you get there, I'm okay.
Yeah. And then that's the biggest thing, just getting out of the house, right? Because I'm the
It
same.
is.
I haven't been training in the morning for a while, but where I was, it was the hardest thing. But once you're in the car, it's like, well, I'm in the car, I'm going to
Yeah.
drive, and then you're going to walk in and do something, even if it's not
Yeah.
the full workout or program,
But you're going to
you're
do
doing something
something.
because for
Yeah.
me, I'm doing something because I left my house. I got out of my bed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let that be wasted.
Yeah. And one of those days I got there and I was still just so tired, I was barely awake, but I just started with a gentle walk. I started with just stretching it all out just to warm myself up. And then I started off with all of my sets on lighter weights just to ease my weight into it. And then by the time I got halfway through, my body was then geared up and then ready to put in more effort and go heavier and go for longer as well. So it's just, I think, important as well. Yeah, listen to your body as well and respond to that accordingly because the results will still come.
Definitely. All right, I've got one more
Yeah.
question. What does movement mean to you in a word or two?
Movement is peace. I think that's probably the best way to put it. It is peace. It brings clarity. It is your mental health more so than anything else. If I was to summarize it, it's not always about the physical. I think with movement as well, yes, we need to be physically fit, but you can't see what's going on up in here and what everyday stresses are actually doing to your body. And actually, that physical act of movement is actually medicine for your mind as well, I think, at the same time. So for me, that's always the drawback is my journey started with movement for my mental health and it still is very much about movement for my mental health as well. It's the one thing that keeps me grounded, steady, yeah, at ease, I think.
I love that. Thank you so much, Judean.
Welcome.